Another thing that I really do not like, and it is bothering me and is eating at me, is the fact that Turning Point will not release the footage, okay? I don't understand it. Every excuse that I've been handed for why they won't release it makes no sense to me. If you are under pressure, if people are starting to look at you funny as an organization, if they're thinking that, whether rightfully or wrongfully, if they are suspecting because they see this footage of someone quickly remove the SD cards, that you guys had something to do with the assassination of Charlie Kirk, and you quite literally have footage that in theory should vindicate yourself, why wouldn't you release it? Think about that. It's just in your own capacity. If somebody is saying you are guilty of anything, if they're like, Candace, you are absolutely guilty of breaking into my car, and I'm like, I have a camera right here that shows that I did not break into your car. Would it make sense if I was like, but I'm not going to release that? I'm not going to release that because it's not right. It's not right for me to release. What? It makes no sense. I don't understand why they would not release this. The idea that it's because, well, the feds are saying the feds cannot arrest you. Last I checked, the feds cannot bring charges against you for releasing footage that you own. And since when do we trust the feds? Certainly Charlie didn't. He didn't believe we were getting the truth about the Epstein files and things of that nature. So I don't accept that. That said, I also want to be clear that it doesn't mean that every single person that is continuing on in the organization is guilty of murder. I mean, I think we want answers, but we shouldn't be like, this person's definitely a murderer because they're not providing the answers. I've been speaking and I've been seeing a lot of vitriol that's been thrown at Andrew Kovette's way because he is doing press. He is carrying on Charlie Kirk's show. He was already seated on Charlie Kirk's show. He was already there. And I was being genuine when I said he's under a lot of pressure. There's no question. He's the spokesperson for Turning Point USA, and he's grieving somebody that he knows and who was a very close, if not one of his best friends. He saw every day doing the Charlie Kirk show, and he's still got to deal with the same donors that Charlie was dealing with. I mean, it's a lot going on, and until we have all the facts in front of us, until we actually see the footage, I think we should be careful in just thinking that everybody is guilty of something. I want you guys to also, though, be conscious of the lies that we are being told by the federal government, because that feels extremely guilty to me. We haven't received any updates whatsoever on the raid that took place of Lance.
So I'm going to just stop for a second. She's out here claiming that she has to see the footage. Why? But who in the world before Candace, let me big screen myself. Who in the world before Candace started this was saying that TPUSA was responsible for Charlie's murder? Was anybody sane? Anybody not 9 drinks in at the bar saying that before Candace started this? Who was saying it? I don't know one solitary person. I've listened to quite a few really wackadoodle stories. I've not heard one person saying it before Candace started this craziness. So no, we weren't saying you got to release the footage because you're not guilty or whatever. Nobody was saying that they were. You're the only one saying that, Candace. You're the only one doing it. Let me bring this back in. Man, this is crazy.
His house where Tyler Robinson was living at the time of this crime. No update whatsoever on Lance. He just completely fell to the wayside. So forget it. Forget asking any questions about Lance. And my instinct has always been that the feds injected themselves immediately into this case because they were staging a cover-up. And now I feel as though we can almost establish that as a fact when I tell you something else that happened here, my next point. So as you know, I have been positively obsessed with who killed Charlie Kirk because he was my friend. He was actually my friend. Everyone else who can eulogize all they want. Some of it felt a little cheap and fake and gay. But for me, this is real. So I've been hunting down all of the videos, all of the footage.
So one of the things that Candace has done from the beginning, she's made this claim that she and Charlie Kirk were like tight, thick as thieves, right? The bestest of best friends. He was more her friend than his wife, more of her friend than her husband. And she's been making that claim. But I've noticed that she's kind of backed off of that. For whatever reason, she's backed off of the pedal because she was going hard in the paint last week. You would have thought a lot of people even saying like she comes across like a jilted lover or an ex-girlfriend or a side chick. But now she's not doing that as much. I've noticed this week, she hasn't been as much my friend. It's more like I'm putting on my Peter Parker, my Dick Tracy hat, my Columbo jacket, and I'm out here trying to solve a crime. But it hasn't been, this is one of the few times she's made a lot of hay about friendship. And I just thought that was interesting. All right, let's go.
And wanted to go back to ground zero, as we did yesterday, of the initial videos that went viral on social media and on X on the day that Charlie was assassinated. And it occurred to me that I forgot about one video. Actually, the only video that exists of the shooter sprinting across the rooftop a mere seconds after the shot was fired. Now, you probably recall that video in the back of your mind. You remember that video that was going viral of him seen running across the roof. Well, I'm about to show it to you in a much clearer quality than you have ever seen it, a higher quality than you have ever seen that video. Remember, before I show it to you, to tee this up, it is just a couple of seconds.
Okay, before we do that, before we get to the madman sprinting across the roof, can we please take a second and shout out Gene Lee? Less than 5 people with memberships. If you got a membership from Gene Lee, I'm in the South, as I like to say. I'm here in Atlanta, so we got good Southern manners. We're going to say thank you. Please make sure if you got a membership from Jean Lee, please let her know. Thank you. Thank you so much, Jean Lee, for extending out the JWhit Podcast membership family. Thank you so much. And also thank you, Bronx Girl, for a $20, so kind, $20 super. She says this: I literally had to block people I have known for years because they believe her and messaged me and said it was a fake Jew and satanic. I'm sorry, that I was a fake Jew and satanic. It was cruel. I'm a Messianic Jew, but really, she is hurting people, all jokes aside. And let me talk about this for a second. And shout out to Bronx Girl. Thank you so much. And I used to believe that Candace Owens was extremely smart. And I've said it on my channel. I've said it on other channels, and I apologize because I was wrong. She's not as smart as she purports. She's well-spoken. And I really believe the superpower of Candace is that she says stuff with such a high level of confidence that you almost got to go along with her. You're like, wow, she's so confident in this. She really means it. There's no way. You're almost saying in your mind, there's no way she can't be truthful. There's no way she could be wrong. And that's really her superpower, is to say things very confidently, super confident. She could be, in my opinion, she's lying based upon information. I believe she's being dishonest, and she will say it with such conviction that it will sway you. And I feel like I've been swayed in instances before, but by God's grace, I've waken up. Let me go and explain why I'm saying that story. Because when she doesn't know something, she still speaks emphatically confident. She cannot know. Clearly, she doesn't know about beekeeping, but she said that these people are saying something nefarious. They're saying something that doesn't mean, but they're talking about bees, but they don't mean bees, because I know, but I don't know. Like, she says it with such confidence, you're almost like, okay, maybe the beekeepers are shady. Maybe they are like up to no good. When she heard the term Messianic Jew, she totally lost her mind. She doesn't know what that means. She did not know. And I watched David Woods, an apostate prophet. She doesn't know what it is. But she speaks so confidently that the candies will run right behind her and say, yeah, it's satanic. But they don't even know what it is, because Candace doesn't know what a Messianic Jew is. She has no clue, no idea. So please, I apologize on behalf of anybody that's made a mistake. Bronx Girl, thank you so much. But Candace puts it out there so confidently, so boldly that, again, it does away with all your inhibition. You're like, well, I guess you got to be right. Wouldn't say that if they were wrong. Wouldn't say that if they didn't do their research. If they didn't have the receipts, they wouldn't say something like this, right? They wouldn't be saying, trust me, bro. Would they? Of course not. They got to mean it.
After the sound of a shot rang out, let's watch this together. And we're going to just cover that. It kind of looks like he's got something trailing behind him too. Maybe that's the towel that we've been told about. We can play that again as you watch this. Now let me tell you how I tracked down this footage. It took me all of 2 hours to track down this footage, to get the name of the person who had filmed the footage. And from there, after messaging someone on Twitter, they said, I got the footage from this person. This is the person that shot it, and he's willing to speak to you. I get in touch with this individual. Okay, very quickly. It was all transpired in a couple of hours. And you will never guess what it is that he told me. He told me that neither the feds nor the local police had ever reached out to him. Never. I'm sorry, what? You have one of two people who have a recording of the shooter at all, right? At all. And the feds were simply not interested, as they were executing this manhunt, of reaching out to the individual who had footage of him running across the roof. How could that be? Why? Why would that be?
So let me ask a question. Sure. I would think, I'm not an inspector. I'm not a detective. I have watched a lot of Law and Order and lots of Law and Order SVU, but I'm not a detective. I'm a pre-K law student at best. And that just means that I know nothing. I would think that, yes, the law enforcement would try to get every little piece of information. However, they don't go after redundancy. Now, this is what I'm learning. Again, in my pre-K law student class, right before nap time. They don't want redundancy. So they don't want just every piece of data, even though it's the same one that we had 5 other times. They don't need that. And now maybe it would be better to get a clearer picture. Sure. Maybe they found it already. Got you. But that's not necessarily the weirdest thing possible. But even more than that, Candace impugns motive already. She already has concluded that because they did not get this piece of data, therefore they must be the culprits. Therefore it's Israel. Therefore is Mossad. She's already concluded it. So if they had collected all the data, she'll say, oh, they're collecting all the data. Therefore, they're trying to cover up. Therefore, they're covering up for Israel and Mossad. And Philip, like, it's the exact same thing. because she has Israel derangement syndrome. Candaspiracy is given to conspiracies. I did a video several months back about, I called it a Christless conservatism. And Candace has it in spades because I don't believe Candace is a Christian. My name is Jason. Catch me outside. JWhitC@gmail.com if you want to email me something different. Because I still have her testimony, by the way. Somebody just asked me not to do it yet. But I have her testimony of how she converted. And yeah, it's interesting. So I'm not saying that because I just don't like Candace Owens. I'm saying it because it's true. Back to my point. She is given to conspiracy. She already likes gossip. Because really what conspiracies are is really just gossip. It's just a high tier form of gossip. That's all it is. And she likes gossip. She likes hearing gossip. She likes giving gossip. She likes when you take her gossip and spread it elsewhere. And she hears it later on, like, oh, wow, it's gotten even better. She likes gossip. That's what conspiracies really are. When you really carry it out, it's just a form of gossiping. That's all it is. You don't have facts. You're just making stuff up. You're filling in the blanks. You're filling in whole pages. You're filling in whole books for crying out loud. That's all it is. And that's all she's doing. And if you are a Candaspiracy, one of the candies, stop it. You stop it. This woman has now besmirched TPUSA, key members and staff members of TPUSA. In a moment, I will not be surprised if next week she says that Erica Kurt is a kingpin that wanted to delete her husband. I won't be surprised. I'll be sad that she says it, but I won't be surprised because I'm really expecting it. I don't know if Vegas got a bet on it, but I would probably put some money on that. Probably by next week. That's what's going to end up happening. And she's besmirching that, and she's making mockery of a ministry that was extremely effective. But now people are going to be looking at them side eye as they're trying to get donors and they're receiving donations and support. Now they're like, well, you don't want to kill your leader. You don't want to kill Charlie. Did you kill him? Did you know about it? That's what's going to happen all because of Candace's lies and gossip. Okay, let me get done. I'm not even close to done. Okay, mercy.
Explain to me, make it make sense for me. Maybe in the fog and the chaos, sure. But at no point did they go, hey, I see this really grainy image that's gone viral on Twitter. Maybe I should reach out to the person that made it go viral and see if I can track down that person so I can get clear data, meaning the metadata that exists, which will tell you the exact second that the person was running to make sure it lines up with my federal timeline that I must be creating. If little old Candace is doing it, then I'm sure the feds at the top are definitely creating a second-by-second timeline just like I am. But no, they never reached out to him. Now I'll tell you what else I discovered because a lot is going on. And
I'm going to go, you know what? I'm going big tonight. I'm going big. I don't think she even met this person. I'm going to go on a limb. I just don't believe her. I don't believe anything that Candace Owens says anymore. I don't believe a thing. Nope. She's going to have to show me that she had a conversation with this person. Why is this person not on the channel with you? Why do you not have these people anything? You just talk to them. It's a trust me, bro. And again, I don't believe you. I don't believe she talked to this person. Nope. She got the video and she concocted a story. There. That's my story. Prove me wrong. Show me the receipts, Candace, that you actually talked to this person. Who is it? Male, female, a senior, junior? Is he a student? Is he a professor? Who is it? Is it a guy? Is it a girl? Is he black? Is he white? Is he Hispanic? Asian? What is he? Who is he? What is he wearing? Jeans, t-shirt, polo, rugby? You got to prove it. Is he a Nike person? Is he pro? Is he the brand with 3 stripes? What is he? I don't believe that you talk to this person, Candace. You're not being honest. And you know how I feel about that, Candace. When you tell me those things that are not true, Candace, you know how I feel.
But I don't like little lies. When there is one lie, there's 20.
I think we're past 20 at this point now. I have not been keeping score. I apologize. But I think we're well over 20 of you saying things to Candace. I just don't believe are true.
And we similarly, by the way, reached out to the person who shot the footage and said somebody is on the roof. We spoke about that earlier this week. He told us the exact same thing. He says he walked in and gave the footage to the Orem Police Department. Okay. Nobody, and they said, we were overwhelmed on that day one, which makes sense. Everybody contacting, calling, someone says, I have this. So it makes sense that he would be on the offense and getting them the footage. But the feds never reached out to him until the 15th. After Governor Cox said the investigation was over and they had the guy, the feds reached out to him and said, hey, you're the one who shot that footage. Yeah. Did you make a police report? He said, yeah, I did. And, oh, really? We didn't know that. What do you mean you didn't know that? This is the first time the federal government on the 15th decided to reach out to the other person who saw the person climbing the roof. I saw the person getting into the shooting position. You never reached out to him until September 15th. Yeah, my friends, that looks to me like a cover up. Not like you're trying to get to the bottom of something. Not with the amount of money that the feds have. You can't tell me that they did not reach out to these two individuals. It makes entirely no sense.
Thank you so much for tuning in to another episode of the JWhit Podcast. If you enjoyed today's show, please do me a favor and hit me up with that 3-piece special. Like the video, subscribe, and of course, share it with somebody who would also enjoy this type of content. And make sure you leave a comment because I do pin the best comments to the top. So thank you so much for tuning in today. And until next time, everybody, grace and peace.